last time out against Fulham. A really good performance the time before that with a 0-0 draw against Burnley, and then ironically the gap grew to the playoffs. That's Championship football for you. It's difficult. It's not going to be any easier this afternoon against the Queen's Park Rangers team that have seen their playoff hopes disappear of late, now 13 points back themselves. They'll be disappointed. They'll be eager to prove a point this afternoon, and Cardiff really, really need those 3 points as we head into the final weeks of the season and look to close that gap before the penultimate game, of course, away at Sheffield Wednesday, which could be all important. Also this afternoon, the anniversary, 3-year anniversary of Cardiff's promotion last time to the Premier League with that draw against Charlton. And like I said, with just 5 matches left this season, it's still very much all to play for as Cardiff look to go for their second promotion in 4 seasons. What we've got coming up for you today on In the City, as ever, is a chat with Russell Slade before today's big game. It's a beautiful afternoon out there this afternoon. The conditions are perfect, and what you're going to see if you are here in attendance this afternoon also is a mosaic on the far side as we look to rouse the atmosphere and try and lift the players to try and close in that gap. So first of all, some exclusive team news. This is the 11 that Russell Slade has chosen for this afternoon's game, and then you'll hear from the man himself just talking you through some team selection. Russell, we're now firmly in the final weeks of the season and still very much all to play for.
Yep, incredibly important game again today against Queen's Park Rangers, who are going to be a tough side. They've got threats all over the pitch, particularly going forward. So we know it's going to be a tough test, but you know we're up for the challenge. We're going to embrace it, and we're going to do our very best.
Is this the archetypal, cliched, dangerous match in the Championship against a team who the pressure's off a little bit? Now their late surge for the playoffs has ebbed away a little bit, and now they can play with a bit of freedom, maybe.
I think they're all dangerous. I've just been watching Bolton against Middlesbrough, and Bolton are still well and truly in the game, you know, with 25 minutes or so to go. So, no, you can never predict in this league. I think that's the thing, is that there are no easy games at all, and we've got a very, very tough game today, and we know that, and we've got to be ready for that and ensure we play with a real intent, real purpose all afternoon.
And 2 teams really with a point to prove. Cardiff, of course, disappointing result last Saturday, looking to bounce back immediately, and Queen's Park Rangers been a bit of worrying form for them away from home. They now haven't won in 6.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got some good players, and for Jimmy now, it's probably all about next season, and for him to look at what he's got at his disposal going forward. From our point of view, we've got everything to play for, and we understand that to a man. We understand that. We need to pull out all the stops we possibly can because it's so important to us.
Yeah, and in terms of team selection, how have you approached this game?
Yeah, a few changes, a couple enforced on us. Matt Connolly is in for Bruno, who's got a virus. Stewie O'Keefe, he's back in the midfield, nice and fresh again. And then up front, I'm pleased to say that Pilkey has passed a fitness test, and he will start today, so he will come in for Tom Lawrence.
Yeah, that's a big plus, isn't it, for Cardiff? Because I don't think we can really understate the importance of Anthony Pilkington in the last few months.
Yeah, look, he hasn't scored more recently, but what he brings to the team has been terrific in terms of his movement and creating space for others around him. You know, he gives us somebody to hit. His willingness to run down the side of teams has been fantastic, really, and to have him back is a big bonus.
And he's going to be welcomed back by another bumper crowd out there in Cardiff City Stadium. Exactly what you need at this time of the season to try and give you that little bit of extra edge.
Well, all we can go on is experience, isn't it? The last bumper crowd was against Derby County, and we got a terrific result. We got a great crowd in today. They got us over the line. It was a fantastic atmosphere for the players to play in and witness and be a part of. And the same again today. Looks like we've got another big packed stadium, so it's fantastic at this time of year. You know, it's been a long marathon, a long season, and you know, you need all the help you can get. And if that crowd get around the team again like they did against Derby County, then that can only help.
All the very best. Queen's Park Rangers arrive in Cardiff sat entrenched in mid-table and with just 1 win in their last 4 matches under their belt. They also arrive carrying the burden of a far inferior away record than their haul from matches at Loftus Road. They've garnered 15 fewer points on their travels than at home, albeit from one fewer game, and they also arrive at Cardiff City Stadium without a win in their last 6 away matches, when conversely, they've won 4 of their last 6 at home. What's more significant is the fact that they've more than doubled their scoring tally at home compared to away, 17 versus 35, whilst their defensive record remains an equal split of 24 conceded, regardless of venue. Rangers boast an identical scoring record as ourselves, with 52 netted from 41 games, yet have a far superior record over the past 6 games of 11 compared to City's 5. In fact, they've failed to score in the league 10 times this season, yet just twice this calendar year, and only 3 times since Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank took the managerial reins at the beginning of December. During his 4.5 months in charge, the former Bluebird striker has overseen a haul of 29 points garnered from 6 wins and 11 draws, yet find themselves a further 11 points shy of the playoffs than at the time of Chris Ramsey's departure. Queen's Park Rangers have 2 players in double-digit goals for the season, however just one is still employed by the club, with Charlie Austin having departed for Southampton back in January. The other is Sharon Shayri, who is a player bang in form with 5 goals in the club's last 8 matches and 6 in their last 11. Fellow summer signing Sebastian Polter is another in a rich vein of form, with 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 8 matches, and it's Massimo Luongo who leads the club's assist chart with 7 on the season, including 1 at the death of last week's dramatic win over Charlton. Defensively, the recent form also shows an upward curve. They've conceded just a goal a game for the calendar year so far, an improvement on their season average of 1.17, while they've also recorded 6 of their 13 clean sheets in that spell. In fact, if you remove February's 3-1 defeat to Fulham and the recent 3-2 loss to Borough, not only do you have a team with a comparable defensive record against anyone in the league of late, but you also have a Rangers team with more than pride to play for in the final weeks of the season. As it stands, their late charge for the playoffs has ebbed away, and more due to the consistency found by others rather than any real stuttering form of their own. They've lost just once a month through 2016 so far, and won 3 out of 4 from late February through to March, including impressive clean sheet victories over both Birmingham and Derby. Yet, a recent 3-game run without a win leaves them trailing the playoff places by 13 points with just 15 left to play for. Head-to-head, it's the visitors who hold the edge, with Cardiff having won just 1 of their last 7 meetings between the 2 clubs. That was through Joe Ledley's header at Loftus Road back in April 2010, which sealed a playoff spot for the Bluebirds. And each of the past 2 meetings have ended in 2-2 draws. Scott Malone's last-minute stunner back in August, and the same scoreline on the last meeting at Cardiff City Stadium, when Jay Bothroyd and Craig Bellamy traded goals with Adel Taarabt, as both sides chased a promotion spot.